So Goldman Sachs is one of the greatest investment banking firms nowadays, medium level of clean code. And we were given 20 minutes to do all those questions related to JavaScript, and we talked about threading and event loops over there. Bigger ones who are looking for skills, they do let you sit if your CGPA is not that good. It was, I think, the second time they were hiring for step interns, so the concept was still new. And then maybe take up development, any sort of development, web development, app development, or ML or anything.
Hi everyone, welcome to Placement Experience Journey brought to you by Upscale Talks. Continuing ahead with the series and talking about the software development profiles. We have gotten Kirti. So Kirti is currently placed at Goldman Sachs as well as has an offer from Google Ads also. So hi Kirti, it would be very nice that you can introduce yourself and then we can move ahead with the session.
Hey, hello everyone. So my name is Kirti, and I'm a final year DTU student who is majoring in computer science. I had been 2 times Google intern, and today I'm here to share my journey to GS with you.
Yeah. Okay. So also for the course of this video, we will just focus our basics on the Goldman Sachs process, and then we'll discuss about Kirti's journey. So Kirti, I think we are in a good position. Now you can tell us more on Goldman Sachs because we all know that it's one of those tech giants who hires for software development. So given that you have already been placed there, so you might have better knowledge than us. So can you just share that with us?
Okay, so Goldman Sachs is one of the greatest investment banking firms nowadays. It's been into existence since 1869. That makes it 153 years old. So yeah, it's a big firm, a good place to be in.
Okay, and congratulations to you, on getting both the offers. Now we can move ahead and let's just talk about the Goldman's process. So can you just tell us, what happened when the company got listed till the time you got the final selection? What was going through your mind at that particular time? Also, I guess it's a long time back, but if you remember any questions out of the interviews, so it might be helpful for our viewers.
Okay. So Goldman was one of the first fintech companies that visited DTU. I remember the test happened on 25th of July 2021, and we were scheduled for interview on 28th July. I guess 21 people were selected out of the whole bunch. Starting from the very start, the coding round. So there was zero CGPA cutoff, so there was basically no bar as of now. Like they didn't, anyone with any CGPA was allowed to sit in, and there was no branch bar either. So everyone got a fair chance to get selected. Goldman Sachs have a very typical coding round. Basically, they divide their test in 5 parts. The first being so the first part is basically two coding questions. They are fairly easy. You can say medium level of lead code, and we were given 20 minutes to do all those questions. Then the second part of the test contained aptitude-based question. It included basically maths question, trigonometric questions, or basically probability types question. So the questions which you solved in JE. This was a bit of a hard part, I would say, and we were given around, I guess, 20-30 minutes again for this part. Then we had another coding question, and it was a hard one. We got around 45 minutes for this question, and then two subjective questions. It was basically sort of HR-ish question where they asked like, okay, I remember one of the question which was like, you and your classmate is doing a class project, and due to some personal reason, he or she is not able to continue. So how would you handle the situation? So you see, this is a HR-ish question, and we were expected to do these questions in 15 minutes. And then the last part contained the CS fundamentals. It was around 25 minutes, and it had questions related to OOPS and DSL Go, and it was MCQ based. Okay, so after the coding test, as I said before, 21 people were shortlisted and they were invited for the interview. So there were three rounds for the interview. First was DSA based completely. So when I entered the meeting room, the interviewer introduced himself, and then I introduced myself, and then I was assigned a question, and we both worked together to solve it. As far as I remember, it was a stat-based question, and an easy one, I would say. So yeah, after the interview, the next round was again a technical interview, which was again DSA based. I was asked an array based problem in this interview, and the question was again fairly easy. And I remember one of the popular ones, so it was not something new, and I was not shocked. Oh, what have they asked? So yeah, that was there. In this round, they also asked me a puzzle question. I was not like I prepared for puzzle, but I had never seen that puzzle before. But the interviewer helped me, and we solved it. But by the end of this interview, I was a little concerned because I was like, oh, I didn't get the puzzle, and maybe I won't be continuing, and they won't continue with me because I was not able to solve the puzzle. It was a mathematical puzzle. But I guess the DSC covered me up over there, and I was invited to the last round, which was HR-ish but still technical. So I was asked questions related to my resume over here. Um, and the interviewer basically asked me to elaborate one of the projects. In this, I talked about my internship project. He also asked me a question which was like, what you learned from your internship and all that stuff. So that's why I said it was an HR-ish interview. After that, they gave me a DSA question, and he was basically expecting all he was expecting me to tell all the possible solutions and not just one. So we explored all the possible solutions in all the possible scenarios. What if the array length is small? What we can do then? What if it is big? What if it contains negative numbers? What if it does not contain negative numbers? So we covered that. And yeah, he asked me one question related to OS. In the previous interview, I had already told the interviewer that since my internship completed just one day back, I had not prepared for any of the subjects per se, like OOPS and OS as such. So when I told the same to the interviewer in this round, and he asked me to tell whatever I can recall, and we basically worked over there also. It was something related to scheduling, and I remembered the basic round robin and first come first serve, and it helped me over there. And so he was not basically looking for a perfect answer, but he wanted to see if I know the subjects. And then he asked me some questions related to JavaScript, and we talked about threading and event loops over there. After that, the results came out and I got the offer.
Okay, yay. So, congratulations to you once again on that. So I have a couple of questions over here. So first of all, that you mentioned that GS did not have any CGPA cutoff per se. So but in let's not just focus on Goldman Sachs, but in all the companies or the big tech giants that visit. So how do you think CGPA plays an important role, and in what perspective matters the CGPA?
Okay, so as I said, that the GS is not considered CGPA and the branch as a criteria, but a lot of companies do. And I do know people who were not able to give even the first coding test because their CGPA was not good enough according to the company. So I would say a lot of companies, sorry, not a lot, but some companies, the bigger ones who are looking for skills, they do let you sit if your CGPA is not that good. But a major portion of the companies, let's say startups and some companies who are still establishing themselves, they basically put a good CGPA bar.
Okay, and also coming to the rounds that you mentioned, so I see that in both of the rounds that you got a DSA question and the interviewer asked you to solve that particular problem. So I've spoken to a lot of people and they always talk about that. If you are given that this approach to the interview, then he asks you to optimize the approach. So, what all aspects you should think when you're trying to solve a problem? Let's say I have given you a problem. So, what all things do you think that are going to help to produce the better results and possibly the placement?
Okay, so definitely, I will never recommend you jumping off to the right in the best solution for the given problem. The best way to go around the problem is to start from very basic, start from very brute force solution, and then work your way up. Because the basic motto behind an interview is to know how your brain is working, what you see in a problem, and on what basis you are making those changes, on what basis you have selected a particular data structure. So that is what an interviewer is looking for. uh, so if, let's say, you have given me a problem, and for that matter, let's just took the first interview which I gave, which was a stack question. Although I had practiced stack before, but that particular question I had never seen before. So when I started off the problem, I asked a lot of clarifying question. Basically, so the way the question was formulated, he said I am given a set of integers. So I had to figure out that it is a stack question of my own. So I asked about the nature of the numbers. Can they be zero? Can they be negative? Or can what could be the length of the array? And then once I know that I understand the problem completely and I know what the problem is asking me to do, I formulated some of the test case for myself. So some of the edge cases, so that when I come up with a solution, I can see if they are being handled or not. So after that, I started with very basic thing, very basic approach. I started with the question itself, and I said what it want me to do. So what I do in is I start with the question, and depending on let's say one statement, I say this particular statement means it wants something of this sort, and which data structure or what algorithm can provide us with this solution. This way, the interviewer know how you came to a particular data structure or a particular solution. I remember I started with an algorithm, and then I figured out it may not be the best one to go with, and then I proposed stack, and in that way he even knew why I came to stack and not. If I would have just jumped onto a stack, he would have been, what the hell? Why is she using stack?
Okay. So also one more question over here that you mentioned that you were fluent with JavaScript. So how important does it in the initial stage, especially deciding upon the language, whether it be C++, Java, JavaScript, or Python? A lot of languages are out there.
Okay, so for this is, I think, one of the most asked question when we enter the college, and we are hearing all those big words and all these new languages. We first of all we think, I just know Hindi and English. What is this new language? Okay, but I would say if you are looking for coding, if you think you would be strongly indulging yourself into coding, then I would recommend you using C++ or Java. One of the reason is, and I don't know if it is still relevant, but it was back in our time that a lot of companies won't let you code in Python because it. Uh, but I understand why they won't let us code in Python is that they think Python provide a lot of frameworks which make work a lot more easier, and it do not give much insight to the interviewer himself. So yeah, so that's there. So if you are looking forward for competitive coding or if you're looking forward for DSA, go for C++ or Java. If you are going for competitive programming, I would recommend you going for C++. It's a lot more faster. And yeah, I use JavaScript for development. Otherwise, my first language and the language which I prefer to code in is Java.
Okay, I think as you have pitched in this question, it's the right time to move to the next segment wherein we talk about your journey from start to entering the day one of the college and thinking, yeah, I will be going into Google to make that dream come true. So what was this journey? Can you just walk us through this?
Yeah, so starting from the very start, when I entered the college, I did not know any programming language. I was not from CS background, and I saw a lot of people who already know coding. And I also remember one of the person in my class was also building a website at that time, and I was so intimidated. But I kept my calm. I was part of IEEE DTU. I went there, and in one of their classes, I got to know about coding ninjas and coding blocks. They were taking a workshop, and I enjoyed their workshop. And I took a Java course, Java Crux course from there. That was the starting of my coding journey. I invested my time in learning the language first. I did all the assignment questions which they gave so as I can have a good grasp over the DSA. Once that was done, I started with competitive programming. I started doing code forces uh, uh, and coding ninja. I started doing code forces and code chef challenges, and they helped me a lot. In the summer of, I guess, 2019, I decided to go ahead with development also. So at that time, I learned web development. And after that, I tried to grab internship on the basis of my development knowledge. That helped me get good projects on my resume too. So that happened, and in the winter of the same year, Google came to our campus to for recruitment of step interns. It was, I think, the second time they were hiring for step interns, so the concept was still new. It was still a little surprising for us that okay, we are getting this opportunity. But yeah, the interviews happened in January of 2020, uh, December of 2019 or January of 2020, around that time. And results were announced in February 2020, and to my surprise, I was selected. Um, yeah, after that, I interned at Google, which kind of changed a lot of things in me. I learned a lot over there. And after that, when I came back, I was this is one thing which I heard that people were like, okay, she have gotten an intern now. There's nothing left for her. So I heard this a lot that you can chill now. You have an intern. But I think at that time a lot of good seniors also helped me. They were like, okay, you've got an intern. That's a good thing, but that does not mean you should stop learning. And at that time, so I sharpened my skills of TSA. I again picked up competitive coding, and I started. I made more projects, and I started participating in hackathons at that time. So yeah.
Okay, and you mentioned that you started participating in hackathon. So, can you just brief us about that? How actually it evolved you from a normal person to getting, all big firms. So, what was this, and what insights or upskillment that the hackathons made developed in you?
Okay. So I used to be a very shy person, honestly speaking. So if a meeting, let's say I'm in a meeting of 100 people, I would probably won't speak up. And even if I have any question, I would just mum and I won't ask those questions. But once I started participating in hackathons, I sort of realized that coding is not the only thing that you need in your life. You will be entering corporate and you want to be evolved. You want to be good at pitching. You want to be good at putting your ideas forward. And hackathon kind of helped me in developing that part in my personality that now if any meeting is, I'm in a meeting and something is coming in my mind, I would probably open my mic and speak about it. So yeah, that happened, and I would say coding a given portion or coding something, some part of a project that have been assigned to you is a different thing, and coming up with an idea from very start to very end and developing it and bringing it to life is something else altogether. It requires a lot more than just coding. That part hackathons help us in.
Okay, and to just mention about the first part that you mentioned, that you couldn't speak in front of a lot of audience. So we are just witnessing that how much change has hackathon, or the thing that was behind it, evolved in you. Okay, so I think we can now just move on to the final segment, and just let's talk about, you have a lot of experience in web development and all of that development. You have a lot of interns at and placements. So I think you are in a better position to mentor someone, or guide their way of journey. So can you just let our viewers know that what is your advice on a person who is watching this video, if he's from first, second, and third year respectively, and hasn't started the prep yet? So what is your advice or the roadmap? Can you just draw the roadmap for them?
Okay, so for the first years, first I will keep it short and crisp. If you're in first year, please start coding as soon as you can. Don't wait for something to happen. If this event will happen, I will start coding. Don't wait for next Monday. इस वीकेंड तक मजे कर लूंगा. Please start coding. You will have enough time in your fourth year to have fun. For second years, if you have not started coding, please start coding. At this point, you should know that your resume is very important for your selection into any firm. So start working on good projects. I would also say find a good friend circle who you can make projects with, who you can participate in things with, and who you can grow with. For third years, I would say you have witnessed the internship. You know how brutal it is out there. So I would say this is, if you have not gotten an internship, this is good time to sit down and think why it is like that, and it is a good time to improve, and it's never late. So yeah. Start now and improve whatever you can, and yeah, that's the. And if I have to draw a roadmap from the first year itself, I would say come to college, understand what's happening, take you 1 month, it's okay, 1 2 months. It's okay, you are meeting new people, you are getting to know college, you are getting to know how to handle everything, the academics, the things which are happening around college, how to make friends. It's okay, you can take your 2 months, but start coding after 2 months. um, uh, Learn coding in, let's say, within 6 months, then start with comparative coding. I would say comparative coding is not a necessity, but yeah, it definitely help you. So if you have time, please start comparative coding, at least try it. And then maybe take up development, app, any sort of development, web development, app development, or ML, or anything. Basically, start working towards a skill which can help you in forming a project, so that you can start filling up your resume. And after that, once you have these things, depending upon your interest, keep diving in, and please don't stop. Please keep exploring and keep sharpening your skills.
Okay, so I can, just finally move to the final question for today's session. So is that, if the person who's watching this video is not from a CS or IT background, and the core concepts that, or the subjects that have been taught to you, let it be DBMS, OOPS, and and all of that stuff in the same bucket, system design, and all of these things. So how important does these all subjects become for an person who is coming from a non-CS background, and what should he focus on?
Okay, so I would say if someone is coming from a non-CS background, the firm already, and they are recruiting for a software background, then the first thing that they are also concerned about is, do you know the basics? So I would say they would you can expect that you will be asked a lot of course questions, so that they are sure that you are the right person to hire. So yeah, you need to work upon your core subject, at least OOPS, DBMS, and OS. These three things you cannot skip, and for that you can refer the there are a lot of courses out there also, but I'm a person who go by the book. I like to read books, so I would suggest you to read these stuff from book because they cover everything in depth and in detail. So yeah.
So, okay, so I think we are in a good position to wrap the session up. So, thank you very much for taking out time and watching this video, and thank you to Kirti as well for taking out time and recording this with us. So, thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you.